Hello, my friends. My name is Lauren, and I am a witch here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you've never been here before, hello and welcome. If you are a return, hey, so good to see you again. Oh my God, you're looking amazing. Anyway, let's get into today's video. Been wanting to do a series kind of about how to really get the most out of your tarot experience. Now, this is something that is definitely to each their own, right? Everyone reads a little differently. Everyone gets different things out of their tarot. And I've definitely shared in past videos, one of which was Quickie Tarot class about how I read for others and even myself. But I wanted to do a kind of a mini series to kind of reflect on a little deeper of how some advice, babies, just advice. If you are new to tarot, there's of course so many people you can follow and listen to. One of my favorite teachers, Lindsay Mack, I took her course, might take it again, because it's just so good. It's self-paced and amazing and nourishing. And that's what I kind of want to share, is how I have made tarot nourishing for me. And of course, I want to share that I have been influenced by Lindsay Mack. That's one person that I've learned from. Daughter of Wands, Kathleen Callahan. That's another teacher that I've worked with and learned a lot from for a holistic and beautiful work with tarot. Erin Johnson, also another amazing witch and someone I've taken classes from. And then lastly, Melissa DeLynn, who is also How to Be a Witch on Instagram. Definitely check out all these amazing people and witches, because this is where I get my information. I also have received information from listening to podcasts, to pulling cards, to reading books. So I wanted to kind of start a series to possibly help you if it is of service. If this resonates with you, absolutely fantastic. And of course, if it doesn't, that's cool too. It's whatever is of service for you. So with that said, I want to talk about what is tarot not. Because I do want to talk about what tarot is. I think it's really important to separate some old school lingo to some new age lingo. And I think what's really important is navigating what doesn't serve us. Having boundaries in our spiritual practice can be just as vital as boundaries in our emotional relationships, in our friendships, and all of those things. So our relationship with the tarot needs its own boundaries. And that means finding what is comfortable for us and what's not of service. Now, discomfort is not always a bad thing. Discomfort can be where we are growing and expanding and moving through and into new realms of possibility. But suffering for suffering's sake is not always a sign that we're doing the right thing. So today I'm going to talk about boundaries that we can have with tarot. Things that we don't need to talk to the tarot with or about. One thing I think is really important, and I'm of course going to break this down. Maybe this is going to get a little heady. But certain things that I have done in the past but I don't do now. That's kind of what I want to talk about here. Boundaries with the tarot that are super important. And this comes down to also just making sure that we're being ethical with our reading, is not reading for anyone but ourselves. It might be important to look at how a relationship is influencing you in the moment. It might be important to kind of ask the tarot, how is this person really making me feel? I can't decide. What's an underlying theme here? But pulling cards for someone else that isn't there and hasn't asked you, That's a problem. That's not ethical. And I get it. That might make you feel weird to hear because I would pull cards for my family members to see how they're doing. And that doesn't seem insidious or a boundary that's being crossed because we're just checking in. But it is. It is a boundary that's being crossed because if I'm pulling a card of saying, oh, how's my brother doing? And I pull this and I start thinking about, oh, how is my brother doing? Blah, 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 blah. 5 of Cups reversed. He's not dealing with his trauma. I have to check in with that trauma. I've already overstepped a boundary because I'm inserting myself without asking him how he's doing right off the bat. So that can be a boundary that's too far. And that can even be tricky when we're pulling for other people who are like, how does this other person feel about me? I don't do that. Because if we start pulling cards for how do other people feel, we're not asking their permission. Someone who's asking you to pull cards for them is sitting there asking permission. But if we're just pulling cards and telling someone, ooh, they're looking around, they're feeling like they have accomplished something and that they're better than you. How do we know that's not a projection? If the person isn't there to check in with, we could very well just be projecting onto that person what we believe is coming through as a message for us. But did we ask if we could have that message? Did we check in with them? This is another thing that I think is really important, at least for modern readers. If you want to read for other people, I think it's great. If that person is there or has given you the permission to read for them, beautiful. But when we start pulling cards for people who are not there and trying to get a gauge on how they feel, we're not always going to get it right. And I think there's a reason for that. I also think we can rephrase that. We can make it work a little differently. We could instead ask, like I said before, how is this person making me feel right now? What are they doing right now that's impacting me the most, or this person I'm reading for the most? How is this person showing up in the person who gave me permission's life? That's different. And that's also reframing it in a way that's way more ethical. So when we talk about what the tarot is not, when we pull cards and are looking at someone else, the tarot is not here to teach us about other people and give us an idea of how they're doing. It's how are we in relationship. So this can be a really important and powerful way to rephrase. So instead, how is my brother doing? I can ask, should I be reaching out to my brother? How am I feeling about him? Am I worried about him? I might be worried about him because I'm worried about me and our relationship and our ability to connect. I should probably reach out to him. He's on my mind. See, that's how we can rephrase that. So when we're thinking about what is the tarot and what is it not, I encourage you to rephrase how we engage. And that means having healthy boundaries with our deck. We don't need to know everything about everyone else. We need to know how we are in relationship to these people, events, and spaces. We need to check in with ourselves, and that can be really important. That can be way more fulfilling than sitting here and channeling and feeling like, I know what that person's thinking now. Is that really what's most important to you as a reader? Or does it feel fulfilling? Boundaries with our deck are incredibly important, but those boundaries are mostly boundaries for us and where our brain is going. Do we need to focus on what another person is experiencing? Probably not. We probably need to check in with ourselves. So that's a really good way to kind of come back, create a boundary, become more ethical, and more grounded as a reader in a way that's way more substantive to what we need rather than what we think we might need. So I hope this quickie video was supportive for you. Of course, if you like how I read, if this was a good little lesson on what tarot should not be, or in my opinion, should not be, what is ethical, isn't ethical, or and how we can create a more holistic practice, definitely links down below to work with me. I would love to read for you and help expand your awareness, your connection to yourself, your own emotions, and how those emotions relate to your current moment. But again, thank you so much for being here. Click on the videos all around if it sounds like something that you feel connected to and called. And I hope to see you again. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a beautiful, blessed day, my beings. Bye-bye.